Hey everyone, it's Finn here from the SDGC Live at PAX West 2024, talking to one of the men behind Yars Rising at Atari. How you doing today?
I'm fantastic. I'm very delighted to show off Yars Rising.
Why don't you tell everyone who you are and what you do for the game?
Absolutely. I'm James Montagna, and I'm the director of Yars Rising, a collaboration between Wayforward and Atari.
Wayforward, everyone loves Wayforward.
Thank you.
And I'm everyone, hello. So what other games from the Wayforward backlog have you been a part of?
I recently directed Advance Wars 1+2 Reboot Camp for Nintendo, and in 17 years at Wayforward, I've worked on numerous Shantae games. I directed Vitamin Connection, Cat Girl Without Salad, just so many.
That's awesome. And so I was talking to someone from Atari before we played, and they kind of touched upon how this came about. But how did you go into joining Atari to not revive, but I guess continue a game that hadn't been around since the literal Atari?
Sure, you know, we were talking to Atari about just all their IP, and Atari has some of the most classic names in gaming, period, because they've just been around for so long. And so for us, it was just sort of thinking about what could we work with here? And there was an idea for Yars, and we put together a proposal, and it was just such a quirky sort of curveball on the concept that it really stuck with us. And when we pitched it to Atari, I think there's a mutual feeling like we have to make this game.
I mean, so if you're not familiar yet, Yars Rising kind of plays, if you're familiar with Shantae or other Wayforward games or that genre, you're gonna feel right at home, but it utilizes a hacking mini game that then immediately brings the gameplay and the aesthetics and the vibes back to that classic Atari feel.
Right.
And I think that's a really just unique combination, and I'm going to give you full credit for that. There's no question here, just full credit.
Oh, well, thank you. You know, we love classic Atari games, and of course, the 1982 video game, Yars Revenge, that this is based off of, is a favorite of ours. There's just something special about that droning audio, psychedelic colors. Just when I think about it, I'm like, what a interesting and cool game on the original Atari 2600 console from 1982.
Right.
And so it inspires us even today. And so people that have never heard of Yars Revenge, this game is for them because we can introduce them to something that we love in a unique way because it shows up in our hacking experience in Yars Rising. And for people that grew up playing Yars Revenge, they'll feel right at home and they'll know exactly how to hack right away.
And I think that's a delicate balance because realistically speaking, most of the audience nowadays is not going to be familiar with Yars. So the fact that this kind of stands out on its own, but then can also bring people back into that history is dope.
Oh, I'm glad you think so.
So who came up with Emmy and just the characters? And because this is much more story heavy, like the original Yars game came with that comic book back in before story was important in games, but this has a much more personal feel to it.
Sure, you know, my colleague and co-creator of Yars Rising, Adam Tierney, came up with the concept of Emi Kimura, this hacker girl living in the future, and this concept that she's like a black hat hacker for hire. And so the whole story about this game came from that just initial proposal. And then as the game director, I took this and I sort of fleshed it out and started to build this world around who is Emmy, who are her friends, and everything about her design. We wanted to create a character and a world that is a love letter to Atari because we love Atari and we want to just share the joy of Atari. So every detail of the character design down to the bangs of her hair create the Atari logo.
Right.
And the silhouette of her head shape is the Yar sprite with the little antenna. So just everything about her is created to just be this Yars and Atari representative mascot character because we thought Atari could also use some more mascot characters.
You're not wrong. So
that was sort of the thinking behind the creation of this character and this world.
And it also has, I don't want to call it the trademark Wayforward humor, but it definitely feels like a Wayforward game, both visually and just the way you've interjected the humor and the personality.
Sure, you know, Wayforward were just a bunch of goofballs. But if you've played Shantae and you like that style of gameplay, I think you will love Yars Rising. And if you played River City Girls and you enjoy that kind of humor, you'll be all over this.
Exactly.
This is the game for you.
That's why I love it. So won't take up too much of your time. The floor is getting a little busy.
It is.
So let's just end by telling people where they can follow either you or the game's progress when it's coming out, because the answer may surprise you. And
Yes.
then we have one final question for you.
Absolutely. So Yars Rising releases September 10th, which is very soon. And you can follow me on social media at James Popstar on X and on Instagram. And you can follow Wayforward at Wayforward Tech on Instagram or at Wayforward on X. And of course at Atari as well,
Right,
and
yeah.
keep up with the game.
So my final question for you is the most important and the most difficult. In your heart of hearts, if you have to choose, cake or pie?
Oh, that's tough.
Look, I never promised my questions would be easy.
Is a cheesecake a cake or a pie?
Ooh, see? That's up to you, dealer's choice.
Yeah, I think.
Because there's a pizza, a pie.
Oh, okay. I see what we're doing here. I might have to go cake though.
Hey,
Yeah.
live your truth. I'm team pie, but I won't hold it against your game.
There could be a pizza cake.
That's an unholy abomination. That's called a deep dish pizza.
Oh, okay.
Or is that just a
Like
thicker pie?
Chicago
Doesn't matter.
style?
Doesn't
Yeah.
matter. I don't
Anyway.
know. Thank you for your time.
Well, now I'm hungry. Thanks.
It's only 10:30. It's fine.